So here is the fuselage section printing out, so you can see the brim at the bottom. If you look carefully, you can probably see the Z-hop taking place. It's very small movements. And then here's the retraction. So you watch that, this is the extruder. You can see that's retraction taking place. And at the same time as it retracts, it's Z-hopping as well, but it's only 0.2 of a millimetre. And you can see the speed, I think was 50 millimetres per second, I think was the retraction rate. And then obviously you've got your extra prime added into that. That's the Bowden tube we were talking about. Goes down into the head, and that's why you need 4.95 in my case. Extruders that you're using direct, the filament goes directly into the head, they won't need that level of retraction. So this is Cura 4.45 I think on the Wham Bam. This is Wham Bam build plate. The build plate was for any cubic, so it's a little bit smaller. Normally I'd have it in the middle, but for some reason in Cura 4.5 they started printing on the far left. They do a little strip down the left here, it's like a prime, where they prime the nozzle, and normally it's further in, but for some reason they've got it really far to the left, so it's trying to print on this sort of magnetic bed. Normally this has the Ender build plate, which is fine. It's sort of a grainy type, you know, it's flexible again. It's got a magnetic base, and you just drop it on, which is very good. But the nice thing about the Wham Bam that I like is that it's effectively like printing on glass, and as soon as the build plate cools you can just pick off the component or knock it off with the Z-axis. If you were printing remotely, for example, you can just lower this Z-axis frame down and then just push it against the object and it'll just fall off. So this build plate is a Wham Bam system. It's a stainless steel plate. It goes onto a magnetic bed. Typically they provide their own magnetic beds that you can add onto your build plate. This one already comes with a magnetic bed, so I'm really just dropping the build plate straight on. And it has this special coating which behaves like glass. It creates a very sticky layer, or sticky adhesion layer for the prime or the brim, where the squish is the bit where it creates this nice little, you can see it, you can see how thin that is squished onto the build plate, and that really has a tight grip on the object so that it doesn't fall off, and then when it cools down it just comes straight off. Or you can take the build plate off and wait for it to cool down a bit, flap it around in the air in the breeze, and once it's cooled down you can just pick the object straight off, but mostly I let the build plate cool down. This is my Ender 3 Pro, and I've got a little LED sort of light up here which I've borrowed, and that just gives me a bit of light so I can see it during the dark hours. But it's a great little print of the Ender. I'd highly recommend it. That's the Octo Pi. So it's basically, well, it's a Pi, Raspberry Pi, and it's got Octo Pi installed on it. I'm using Octo Printer with the web, and it's got a proper power supply going into it, so I can draw the additional amperage it needs. And it's just talking via USB cable directly into the Ender, so I don't need to swap memory cards. It just works over Wi-Fi. So this one's connected over Wi-Fi. It's just fairly straightforward to do, and then just hook straight into the printer so I can talk directly to it. I've also got a power socket. Can't really see it behind the back here, but you can see it there. That's actually a sort of Wi-Fi driven one, and that allows me to remotely power on or power off the printer using a little app, even over my 3G or whatever it is on your data on your phone. So you can either connect to it via Wi-Fi, but you can also connect to it out of the office. I use Google Remote Chrome Desktop to control this remotely, so I can basically see this and I can demonstrate that a little bit later, but it's fairly straightforward to use Chrome Remote Desktop to control this printer when you're out. Most people do not recommend having printers being left running at home because there's a chance, you know, power supply could catch fire. However, the Ender has a very good power supply generally, and is very stable, pretty quiet as you can hear. So I'd recommend, you know, if you could set one of these up but remotely, but you have to be thinking about, if you've got a family especially, whether that's a wise thing to do, because there have been occasions where power supplies on cheaper printers have caught fire. Alright, that's it.